Welcome to another Faith and Prosperity Moment. I am Clarice Minor, your Christian financial strategist. Today, I want to share a beautiful revelation about building heavenly wealth before accumulating wealth on earth. There was a man who produced an abundance of crops, so much so that he had to build new barns to store everything he had harvested. Once he completed his barns, he eagerly planned to sit back, admire his achievements, and relax and enjoy life. However, God called him a fool. While he focused solely on building wealth, he neglected to nurture his relationship with the giver of wealth. No one can predict the day or manner of our death. Therefore, we need to manage our time and resources wisely by prioritizing God, who has promised that all other things will be added unto us. This man appeared successful in the eyes of the world as a businessman and a farmer. He believed he deserved to enjoy the fruits of his labor, which is consistent with what the psalmist teaches us in Psalms 128 and 2. Yet, Jesus calls him a fool because his primary concern was how much he could acquire for himself. So, how do we build heavenly treasures? First, let's define what they are. In Luke 12 and 33, Jesus instructs us to sell our possessions and give to those in need, stating that this will store up treasures in heaven. The purses in heaven will never get old or develop holes. Your treasure will be safe. No thief can steal it, and no moth can destroy it. Heavenly treasures differ from tangible possessions. They consist of mental, spiritual, and soulful gains, such as peace that surpasses all understanding, courage like a soaring eagle, and strength like a fierce lion. When our foundation is Jesus Christ, these treasures cannot be taken away, regardless of how many attempts the enemy makes to steal them. He may try, but ultimately he will get tired and move on. To store our treasures in heaven, we must be willing to give up the things that we love, like, or enjoy. Be ready to part with them, so much so that if you were called to give away your possessions, you could do so without hesitation. This way you keep your heart pure, ensuring nothing comes between you and our Heavenly Father. Consider Abraham, who gave up the comforts of his family's life. Later in life, he was even willing to sacrifice his son, someone he had waited decades for. How could he contemplate such a thing? Because he had immense trust in God, knowing that God would supply all his needs according to his riches and glory. Abraham also understood that there was a greater promise from the Lord, a multitude of descendants to spread throughout the entire world. That was the promise of God to Abraham. In Luke 12 and 34, Jesus tells us that wherever treasure is, there your heart will also be. We cannot serve two masters. We either have to love one and hate the other. God despises the lukewarmness. We cannot claim to love the Lord with all our hearts while hesitating to help others that seek financial support, time, food, or resources. This message applies not only to the wealthy, but also to those living on low income or in middle class. Often we are short on resources. We cling to what little we have as if we will never see it ever again. But this response is rooted in fear. Jesus teaches us not to worry about basic needs, food, clothes, and shelter, because those things will be provided. Instead, he wants us to focus our hearts and our minds on spiritual gains rather than material gains. Our worry indicates that our weakness of our faith and reveals where our true desires are. It shows that we do not love the Lord with all our hearts, minds, souls, and strength, which is the greatest commandment. Don't let the enemy deceive you. into thinking that your lack of certain things or unfavorable circumstances means that God is not blessing you or that others are more blessed than you. Instead, seek God's will in all you do, and He will direct your path. So, how do we store our treasures? We do so by living in love. The debt of sin was paid when Jesus died on the cross. Romans 13:8-10 teaches us about debt and commandments, concluding that all commandments are summed up in loving our neighbor as ourselves. Love does not know wrongs to others. Thus, love fulfills the requirements of the law. Love covers a multitude of sins. After Jesus was baptized, God declared him his son and expressed great pleasure in him. Jesus was the living sacrifice for sin, enabling redemption and reconciliation. As we strive to live in love and receive God's love, we also extend agape love to others. So what is love? Love is patient. Love is kind. It never gives up or loses faith. It is always hopeful and endures through every circumstance. Love is not boastful, proud, or rude. It doesn't demand its own way or seek gain at the expense of others. So let's strive for heavenly treasures through love and faith. Thank you.